everyone, and welcome to today's balancing practice. When we are pregnant, our balance can shift quite a bit, our center of gravity changes, and the further along that we get throughout pregnancy, the more that might be apparent in our bodies. And so when we practice balancing, it really will help us in the long run throughout the pregnancy, because as we change that center of gravity in our body shifting and where we're putting our weight might be slightly shifting, we can prevent injury and prevent falling by working on sturdying our balance and getting a little bit more grounded in balance. What's great about balancing postures is that there are modifications for everything along the way. So I'll show you the more advanced balancing posture and how to modify in that posture for what you're feeling today. I recommend doing this practice either with a wall right next to you so you can use that to balance, or with your chair nearby so that you can grab onto that for the balancing postures as well. Every time you come to the mat, it might feel a little bit different for you. Every time that you show up for yourself, it could feel a little different. One side might feel different from the other. So allow yourself to do what feels best in your body today and honor the space that you're in based on what trimester you're in and how far along you are and how you're feeling. So we'll get started by grounding down through Tadasana. Now, Tadasana is a standing balance. We are standing on 2 feet. I'm going to bring my feet just slightly wider than hip distance apart to help with some space for baby and help my balance out. So ground down through your feet. Bring your arms down by your side, palms facing forward, and then soften the shoulders away from the ears. And sometimes to do that, you can roll the shoulders all the way up toward the ears and then relax them all the way back down. And as you settle into this powerful mountain pose, really reach through the fingertips and notice where you're shifting your weight into. You can always find a slight bend in your knees here. This can prevent you from fainting if you're locking your knees out. So just keep that slight bend, keep that buoyancy in the legs, but keep the length through the spine and the crown of the head high and keep the shoulders nice and soft. And breathe into this space. To practice balancing here, you can just keep your gaze on one point, or you can close your eyes. Noticing the natural sway of the body, just in this standing posture. Taking a big full breath in through the nose, fill up the lungs all the way to the very bottom. And slowly release on an exhalation. One more full breath in like that, big breath in. Notice the natural sway of the body with the inhalation. And the natural movement with the exhalation. Keeping grounded through all 4 corners of the feet. And then if your eyes are closed, gently blink them open. Take a big breath in, arms start to sweep toward the sky. And on your exhale, let's cactus the arms and open the heart. You can take a slight back bend if that feels okay here, but keep the belly hugged in so that you're not finding any doming or coning when you lean back. So I'll show you from the side. We're drawing that belly in, engaging the underneath abdominal muscles, those transverse abdominis, and you're drawing the shoulders back. Heart draws forward and up. Inhale, arms reach toward the sky. And on your exhale, start to hinge forward. If you have those blocks handy, we'll hinge forward, leaning toward those blocks. Lead with the heart, nice bend in the knees, generous bend as you fold. Bringing your hands to those blocks. Big bend in the knees. Create more space for baby by widening your feet. Inhale to lift halfway. Lengthen the crown of the head forward. Lengthen through the sides of the body. And then slowly, we'll guide our hands toward our hips. Start to rise all the way back up. Arms can reach toward the sky. And guide your hands to your heart. Pausing here for a moment, checking your balance, checking your feet, grounding down through those heels, through the 4 corners of the feet, noticing the toes. Are they gripping into the mat? If they are, you can just gently lift them up slightly. That way you're not gripping with the toes, because when you start to grip with the toes, you actually will notice your balance will shift just slightly. So allow the toes to be soft, just grounded but soft. Hands can be at heart center. And then start to blink open the eyes if they're closed. We're going to start with shifting our weight from one foot to the other to practice our balance. So if you'd like, you can come by a chair to do so. We'll step into one foot first, whatever foot feels best for you to start on. I'm gonna start with my left grounded and picking my right up. So options here. You can bring your opposite hand to your belly. If you're working on balance and you're more advanced in your yoga practice, you can bring your hands to heart center or your hands to your hips. Or you grab a hold of that chair, one hand on belly or one hand on hip, and you bring those right toes just slightly touching the earth. Now you'll notice you're starting to shift your weight into that standing leg. What we want to prevent here is dumping the weight into that standing leg to try and overcompensate. So draw the foot into the ground. Draw the crown of the head toward the sky. Find that length through the sides of the body, even with the toe just touching. Option here to pick that foot up off of the mat, bringing that thigh about hip height and the thighs parallel with the earth, flexing through that standing leg. Now again, you can stay like this. You can bring your hands to heart center. You can bring your hands to your hips. Whatever works for you on this side. Is also okay to try and lift the foot. If your hand is on your chair, maybe you lift for a moment and bring it back down. But make sure you feel sturdy enough where you're comfortable balancing on your own with the chair or the wall, however you are. So if this feels too wobbly and you're going to come down, feel free to keep that toe touching the earth. So wherever you are, we're going to pause here. Take a big full breath in. Big full breath out. One more big breath in, ground down through that standing leg. Big full breath out. Slowly lower that foot down to the earth. Let's shake out that standing leg a little bit and then come back to that Tadasana mountain pose. Find that balance on both feet. Reach through the fingertips just for a breath to switch sides. So allow big breath in, big full breath out. And we'll slowly switch sides. So hands can come back to heart center. You can bring one hand to the hip or to baby and grab a hold of that chair. But we'll shift our weight into that opposite foot. Now find the balance right here first before you lift, touching the toes to the earth. One side might feel much easier to balance on than the other, and that is perfectly okay. Just find what works for you in your body here. So in this space, press down through that standing leg. Lengthen through the sides of the body, crown of the head reaches, and soften through the shoulders. And wherever you are, maybe you pick up the foot, maybe you're holding onto that chair or resting your hand on that wall, finding what works for you in this balance, and then lengthening, grounding down through that standing leg, not dumping the weight into that right hip. One more big breath in here. Big full breath out. Slowly lower that foot down to the earth. Gently shake out that standing leg. Come back to your Tadasana. Arms come down by your side. Take a big breath in, arms sweep toward the sky. And a big breath out, guide your hands to heart center. We're gonna step back into a warrior one. So I'm just gonna move my blocks to the top of the mat so I have a little bit of space. I'll bring my right foot to the top of the mat and I'll take a big step back with that left foot. So in your warrior one stance, you want both feet grounded firmly on the earth, including that back foot. If you need to lift the back heel, you can, but try and keep that foot grounded. We're turning the left toes out to face the top left corner of the mat. Big bend in that front leg. The key to this pose is that we want our hips and shoulders to be squared to the front of the mat. So you don't have to have your feet really close together. In fact, when you're pregnant, I find to find your balance, it's so much easier if you widen your stance, bringing your feet from skis to train tracks. So imagine widening that stance slightly. Taking that big bend in that front leg, hands can come to hips for a moment to find your balance. You'll notice a nice stretch in that back calf with that heel down, lengthening through the crown of the head. Let's reach the arms toward the sky only if this feels comfortable in your body. Take a big breath in here. And just like we did when we were standing, let's cactus the arms. Maybe you open the heart and take a slight back bend. Again, hugging baby in to protect from that doming or coning that can happen during pregnancy. Leaning back, drawing the shoulders down. Inhale, arms reach toward the sky. And on your exhale, hands come to heart center. Let's step to the top of our mat. Hands can come to the hips. and step that left foot to meet the right. Just shake out the legs a little bit, and we'll switch sides. Ground down through that left foot. Take a big step back with that right foot. Grounding down through that right heel. You can always shorten the stance if that helps you keep that heel grounded. Right toes point toward the top right corner of the mat. Taking a wider stance if that helps you with your balance in this space. Squaring the hips and shoulders toward the front of the room. You can stay right here. You can start to reach the arms toward the sky in your warrior one, Virabhadrasana A. Soften through the shoulders. Take a big breath in to lengthen. And on your exhale, cactus the arms. You can stay here. You can slightly open the heart, leaning back. Only if that feels comfortable in your body. Inhale, arms reach toward the sky to lengthen. And on your exhale, hands come to the heart center. Stepping to the top of the mat. Gently shake into the legs a little bit. Come back to that Tadasana, mountain pose. Big breath in, arms sweep toward the sky. Big breath out, hands to heart center. Let's take a nice wide stance on our mat from here. So from this space, we're taking this wide stance and we're turning the right toes to face the very top of our mat. Left foot stays parallel with the back. Find your warrior two stance. Big bend in that right leg. Arms reach out to a T. So even here we're working on our balance. Even in these warrior poses, you're pressing down through both feet evenly, grounding down through the pinky toe edge side of that back foot and lengthening through the fingertips. Soften the shoulders. Get nice and long through the sides of the body. Big breath in. On your exhale, extended side angle, reach that right forearm to the thigh. Left arm can expand on overhead. Lengthen. Notice the shift in balance here when you start to lean. Always an option to place a block underneath that right hand instead of bringing that forearm to the thigh. But if your hand is down, make sure your heart isn't crunched and round over like this. You want to keep the heart nice and open wherever you are and keep the length in both sides of the body. Inhale, come all the way back up. Guide your hands to your hips. Straighten into that front leg, and we're going to switch sides. So turn the right toes to face the side, turn the right toes forward so that the outside of that right foot is parallel with the mat. Big bend in that left leg, left toes turn toward the top of your mat, and arms reach out to a T. Lengthening to the sides of the body. Notice your balance on this side. Root down through the pinky toe edge side of that right foot. Take a big full breath in here. And on your exhale, start to hinge forward. Guide that left forearm down. Right arm can find that expansion, extended side angle. Heart stays nice and open. Always an option to grab a hold of that block and bring that block to the left hand. One more breath right here. Inhale, come all the way back up. Guide your hands to your hips. Straighten into that front leg. Toes turn toward the top of your mat. And we'll heel toe or step the feet back together. Arms come down by your side. Tadasana, mountain pose. From here, we'll move into our next balance, which is tree pose, Vrikshasana. So in this pose, again, I recommend grabbing a hold of that chair or leaning onto a wall if you have a wall accessible near you. So what I'm going to do is just move anything that I might trip over off of my mat into the side so that I can focus on this balance. I'll move closer to my chair. Tree pose, just like our standing balance that we did before on one leg, can be done in a few different ways, and you can choose whichever one fits you for your practice today. So let's shift our weight into the foot closest to the chair. For me, it's my left. And I'm going to take that right foot and open it out toward the side, opening the knee out toward the side, bringing the sole of the foot to touch the inside of that standing leg. This is tree pose. This is a perfect version of tree pose. You keeping grounded through that standing leg, and this foot has less weight on it, but it's still just allowing it to be kickstanded to find that balance. So option to stay right here. Again, you can bring your hand to your hip if that helps you balance. You can bring your hand to baby or hand to heart if you're holding onto your chair, or guide both hands together at heart center and pressing into that standing leg. Again, we're not dumping the weight into that standing hip, so we're hugging that in, drawing that hip in toward the center line of our body. so that we can keep the length through the sides of the body, crown of the head reaching toward the sky. Another option, if you're holding onto your chair or not, is you can bring the inside of that foot to the inner calf, keeping that external rotation in that right hip. Option here, again, hand can be on baby, hand can be on heart or hip, or hands at heart center. If you're a more experienced practitioner and you feel comfortable going into the full variation, you can bring that foot to the inside of the thigh. We're never placing that foot on the knee itself because the knee doesn't bend that way and we don't want to press that joint out like that. So if the foot is on the thigh, you're pressing foot into thigh, thigh into foot, keeping that external rotation, length through the sides of the body, crown of the head reaches, and soften through the shoulders. Option to stay here. Hands can come to heart center. You can bring your hand to your baby, one hand to a chair, one hand to a wall. Whatever feels comfortable, wherever you decided to take that tree pose. Let's take 2 deep breaths in this space. Big full breaths in. Big full breaths out. One more big breath in. Big full breath out. Slowly, if your foot is on the thigh, gently begin to release it down. If your foot is kickstanded or on the calf, we'll start to shake out that leg and then come back to your Tadasana. Big full breath in between sides. Big full breath out. We'll slowly switch sides. So I'm going to shift my weight into my right foot this time. You can bring the left foot to a kickstand. What is great about yoga is you do not have to mimic the exact same thing you chose on the other side. So if one side you decided to go fully into it and this side is just not feeling it, that is perfectly okay. Take where your edge is on this side. They don't have to be mirror images of one another. Mostly for the fact that, we don't need to force something in one side if it's not working for that side, and for safety purposes, you want to make sure that you're able to balance, especially during pregnancy. We're working on balance. It does not have to be perfect. So we're going to ground down through that standing leg. Foot can be on the thigh, the calf, or kickstand it. Wherever you decide to bring it, press foot into leg, leg into foot, pressing in opposition, hugging that hip in so that it's not dumping out toward the side. And we're drawing the crown of the head up, lengthening through the sides of the body. Hands can come to heart center, or you can bring a hand to a wall or a chair, depending on what feels most comfortable. Let's take 2 full breaths in, big breaths in. Big full breaths out. One more big breath in. Big full breath out. Slowly begin to release that foot down to the earth. Gently shake out that standing leg. Beautiful job. We're going to come all the way down to our mats. Coming into a tabletop pose. So take your time to get here. Move the hips from side to side. Just breathe into the sides of the body. Separating the knees, hip distance apart or a little wider if that feels okay. And then come back to that neutral tabletop pose, pressing down through the palms and the finger pads. Let's take a few rounds of cat-cow here. Inhale, drop the belly, draw the heart forward to the gateway of the shoulders. Exhale, round through the spine, chin tucks toward the chest. Inhale, belly drops, heart draws forward. Exhale to round. One more, inhale. Exhale, connect with your breath as you exhale. Come back to that neutral tabletop pose. And slowly walk the hands forward. Tuck the toes under. We'll lift the sit bones up and back for downward facing dog. Adho Mukha Svanasana. Maybe you pedal out the legs, bending into one knee at a time. Not here for long. Always an option to just stay lifted with the knees slightly bent. And then slowly drop the knees to the earth. Take them nice and wide. Big toes touch. Child's pose, Balasana. Forehead can come down to the mat. You can stack your hands and bring your forehead to your hands. Soften through the shoulders. Big breaths in. Big full breaths out. Pausing here for a few deep breaths in this child's pose, just grounding down from all that bouncing energy, taking this moment to really ground into the earth. 2 more breaths right here in this space. Big breaths in. Big full breaths out. Slowly start to come all the way back up. We'll shift over to one side. We'll make our way all the way down to our side for a side lying shavasana, resting your head on your bicep. Opposite hand grounds down to the earth and close the eyes. Softening into this space. Lying on whatever side feels most comfortable for you. Allow the eyes to close, the gaze to come inward, connecting to your breath. And allowing yourself to pause here for as long as you'd like.